guys, welcome back to my YouTube page. I hope you guys are having a lovely week. I can't wait to share with you guys what God has been really speaking and pouring into my heart this week, and I know it will encourage and speak to someone. And so the title of my message is Showing Affection. You know, last week I was reading this story from the Bible that was so beautiful, and I felt like, you know, when I was reading this specific story, God was really pouring into my heart and speaking to me and just even showing me great things in that word. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys and just bring out and share those points with you all. But before, just for the sake of context, I just want to read through the verse a little bit so that you guys can know the story. So this is a story found in Luke chapter 7, and it's about this women who anointed Jesus, this sinful women who anointed Jesus. And it reads in starting verse 36, it reads, when one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. A woman in that town who lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. And then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. And when the Pharisees who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man was a prophet, he would know who was touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. This is such a beautiful story, and I feel like we all can relate to this, including myself, right? This is a woman who's sinful, who is not perfect, but just, you know, she came close to Jesus and she was showing that affection and she was showing that love. And there were some points that God really opened up and really showed me while I was reading this text last week. And one of the point was in verse 37 that said, you know, it says the women who lived in that town, you know, she was a sinful lady, right? And one thing God said to me, you know, I mean, it was like an encouragement even into my life. And he said, Abby, God doesn't call for your life to be perfect in order for you to worship him. And I feel like this is a problem, especially in our generation, right? If we, you know, commit a sin, or if we're not walking according to how a lot of Christians around us are not, you know, we just feel distant from God to the point where we draw ourselves away, or we disattach of just even coming to the presence of God, or even going to church, or surrounding ourselves with believers. And so I want to encourage you, you know, even if you're watching this video, are there things in your life right now that you feel like you've committed, that you feel like this is so bad that I can't even go to church, or I can't even draw myself close to God? I want to encourage you, you know, as this women, don't be afraid. You know, like one thing that I felt like, you know, God was just, you know, Jesus was even so impressed with this woman is that he know that she was sinful, right? And one thing, you know, one question that I asked myself last week is, can we be far away from God, but yet draw ourselves close to sup with him? And see, this woman came towards the territory of Jesus, right? It said she learned that Jesus was having dinner at one of the Pharisees' house. And so it wasn't Jesus coming to her territory, but it was her who came, you know, who went to the territory of Jesus, regardless of what she did, regardless of what, you know, awful sin that she committed. And so I want to encourage you, like, can you draw yourself close to sup with him, even though you're not, you know, even though you're messing up in your life right now? And that's just as an encouragement. And the other thing that I felt like God was really even speaking to me or showed me in this text was in verse 38, where it said, as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. In this, you know, we see two things. We see one, she was really bold, right? Like, it wasn't just a drop of tears. Like, she was weeping to the point where it was just like ugly tears, like like in front of so many people, that she didn't care who was watching. She didn't care who was in the room, because she wanted to show that affection. She wanted to show that love to Jesus. And so one thing that I want to ask you as you're watching this video is your worship to God sincere? And is it from a place of affection? When you go to different gathering places, or like a church, or like, you know, any type of prayer gatherings, do you show that affection? Not just because who's there, but is it really, do you think it's just you and Jesus in that moment, in that you're showing that deep love, you're showing that deep affection, regardless of who's even noticing you? I think that's a powerful place of worship when we learn to worship in that attitude. And the other is, God doesn't, one thing that the Holy Spirit showed me in this text is that, God doesn't crave material things from us, but he does value when we bring to him the most valuable things to us. One thing that I saw in this text that was really that really opened up my eyes to the point where I prayed afterwards is that this woman didn't just come towards Jesus with just her love and her affection. She also brought a perfume. And I want to ask you, do you ever go to church, or have you ever gone to any type of gathering or any place where the presence of God is with not just your love, not just your affection, but have you brought along something that's valuable to you? And this was quite interesting because I've never really, before this text, I've never really thought of worship that way, or I've never really gone to somewhere to worship God thinking, oh, what other valuable thing am I bringing to that place before I even worship? And in this moment, that can be a shifted heart. It can be a relationship. It can be your job. It can be anything. But I want you to be intentional. Maybe after you even watch this video, next time you go somewhere to worship, are you going there with something valuable? That's what this lady brought when she went to Jesus. She didn't just go with her tears and her affection and her love. She also brought a perfume with her. And I feel like that's such a powerful worship. And so I just want to encourage you. I don't know, this story really encouraged me last week when I read through it. It really just stirred up a lot of things in my heart that even, changed how I saw worship. Or, next time I go somewhere to worship, now I'm just like, okay, what can be one valuable thing that I can bring to the presence of God other than my love and my affection? And so I hope this was encouraging. I hope this kind of stirred up a little bit about what worship is to you. And I hope this was encouraging to you. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like this video. And hopefully I will see y'all in a few weeks. Bye.